This is Nitha Ramachandra from the NR Hour Sports Show. This is episode 978. We are joined by a really special guest. His name is Xavier Cousar. He's a defensive tackle. He just committed to Grambling State University. Congrats on that. We'll talk. We're going to get into his journey, career, his high school career. Obviously, he's from Irvine, California. So we're going to talk about all of it, how he got started in football. We are live on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, and all the other podcast platforms. So fans, please tune in. You can ask questions to Xavier on the Spreaker app. But Xavier, I just want to say thank you for joining the show. It's truly an honor, and congrats again on committing to Grambling State. And how are you and your family doing today?
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So I want to start off with when did you get into the game of football, and who would you say your biggest role model was?
I'd have to say I started in 6th grade when I was living in Georgia at the time. And so I was mostly like a basketball soccer kid. And then my mom was like, hey, you kind of rough some people up when you're playing basketball. So I should try out football. And so we just went out for the team, ended up doing well. And so it's just been history from there. And so for a while I had to take like a slight break just because I'm moving. And so where I was at, they didn't have a football program available. But then when I got back to the States, I was able to like play football and starting high school. That kind of rebooted my career.
Wow. Yeah. So tell our fans about your position, defensive tackle, and in high school did you get to learn any other positions before defensive tackle?
So with the D tackle, it's kind of one of it's the whole lineman position is kind of one of the less glamorous ones in terms of like being called out the most. But for D tackle especially, I feel like it's one of the more unseen, just because even though you can get back, you can get to the QB and like you have notable stats that people can see. Oftentimes, like you won't notice that something's going wrong until something bad happens with D line. And so really it's just one of those positions where you have to go in play after play and just like work to beat the man in front of you. And oftentimes it's just one of those bruisers to where you could be 30 plays in and you're already arms are sore, legs are overworked, you're getting ready. And after games, it's just one of those to where it's just like it puts a toll on your body. And so throughout high school, with thankfully where I was at, I was kind of one of the bigger players in the league. And so I didn't really have to deal with the total fatigue and all that came with the position. But also since I was playing both ways and playing offensive line, it was kind of like that toll of just going both ways, having to go back and forth, saying someone messed up on the defense, having to go back on the offense, and then vice versa on the offense, offensive tackle. If someone threw like a pick or a fumble, going right back on defense and having to just go back into the play. And so really, it was just more of that like learning to balance the two to make sure that I wasn't trying to overwork. And when it came time to starting to get into recruiting and like going to camps and whatnot, really focusing on which position I thought I'd be best suited for.
Well, so yeah, what was that like switching back and forth in high school between offensive line and defensive tackle? Obviously, I think that's a good benefit for an athlete learning multiple both positions, but on a difference, both offense and defense. So for you, what was that like for you, and what advantage did you get out from that?
It wasn't really until my first combine, or my blue grade combine, that I was like, okay, I'm gonna start focusing on D tackle, because I was at the time of high school, I was pretty decent at both. I was like, oh, I don't know which one to choose, but I just realized like I had more fun on defense, and so for the combine, I put defensive tackle. I did really well at the combine with one-on-ones and just the drills going from there. And so after that moment, I was like, okay, yeah, I can play both ways, but I'm going to start focusing more and more on D tackle and trying to learn to specify what I need to do at that position more. And then also kind of really looking more into like each position, seeing what are the measurables that are needed for both. Seeing that I was kind of on the shorter end for offensive tackle, even though I'm like 6'2", and everyone's like, oh my gosh, you're so tall. Like that considered one on the shorter end. And so with D tackle, it allowed me to play at my height and still be able to have like the good measurables when it comes to recruiting.
Yeah, so let's talk about your hometown, really, Irvine, California, amazing area. So for you, what was it like growing up there as a kid, and seeing your family and making your family proud and representing your hometown there?
So fun fact, I did live in Irvine for most of my football career, but I am not from there. I actually grew up overseas for the most part.
Oh,
So my mom, we always traveled for her work, and so we were in Korea, Germany,
oh wow.
and so it wasn't really until high school where we actually settled down. And so that most of the time when people are like, "Oh, where are you from?" I just say Irvine, just because that's where we spent most amount of time. But no, it was growing up there during my high school career, at least. It was interesting, and it was honestly quite the same as to what I was used to, since a lot of the times I was used to seeing a lot of diversity throughout school and my community, just from having to move around a lot. And so now going to Irvine, living in North and going to Northwood, it was more of a just like a same thing, different place. But no, it was fun. I met some great people. It was definitely kind of an eye opener going to a different school system, just because of how the school itself was very focused on academics, and I was used to my classrooms overseas being like 30 students per grade, and like your teacher knows who you are, and going to classes to where it's now you're one of 40. Your teachers have like 4 or 5 different periods, and so just kind of getting to learn to balance that.
Well, yeah. So we are live with Grambling State commit defensive tackle Xavier Cousar. We already have a fan question in here. Someone wants to know what's your hype music before a game?
um it depends how how long I have before the game. I normally throw on some Young Nudie, EA featuring 21 Savage. That normally never fails. Um, I got into UK rap a while ago, so putting on some Stormzy or some Dave
Oh wow.
for the game, trying to get into it.
Yeah. So what was it like traveling with your mom and experience different countries like Korea? You said. So what was it like just traveling around the world?
It was a great experience. It really allowed me to open up to different cultures and different viewpoints, and so just being able to see people different from myself and how they kind of interact with the world and how their cultures kind of interact with different people. It was more of like a eye-opening experience, and it allowed me to gain like a better sense of, I'm trying to think of the word, a better sense of like own self-identity and figure out what I do in my own life.
Mm. Oh well. Yeah, so for you, obviously, senior year is a big year for high school athletes. When that's when all the offers come in, and so for you, what did you focus on going into senior year in high school, and what was a message from your coach or the rest of the coaching staff that got you ready for this moment?
So going to senior year, it was more. I was ready. I knew it was gonna be my best year coming in. I was coming off a great junior year, and I was most of the players that we were playing my junior year were returning, so it's gonna be pretty much the same team. And so I was just thinking, let me go and make my impact even greater than what it was junior year, because that was kind of my warm up year. Senior year is gonna come and be a completely different story.
Hmm.
So I was also going through all my camps and all my college camps trying to figure out like, oh, let me get some eyes on me.
Hmm.
So after all that, I was like, let me give them a reason to come by the school as well. Because if you can do well during the summer and without pads and all that, but when season comes, you gotta be able to show up even in game time.
Wow.
And so most of my coaches, they knew I was gonna do great. They had all the faith in me, and so they really just looked to try and get as many looks as they can towards our school. And I mean, it was rough considering the school I went to wasn't a heavily football recruiting school.
Yeah.
Evidently, why I chose Long Beach to go to for this past season. But I mean, they all knew and had high goals for me the whole way.
Wow. Yeah. So we have another fan question. He wants to know who are some of the defensive tackles you like to watch now?
I love looking at tackles with the same that kind of play like me, kind of have the same size as me. So Aaron Donald for sure. He plays with his height, being also considered one of the more undersized players. Oh my gosh. Let me see. Geno Atkins is one that I look to when it comes to more like power moves, trying to figure out how to play leverage and really get people out of the way. Fletcher Cox, he was a big. Yeah, I would be watching his videos before games, trying to figure out how how I can kind of copy the things he does. Yeah, those are just some of the top three. Aaron Donald is for sure that one, just because he
Yeah.
is seen as that pinnacle of the position itself.
I think you can say right now, Aaron Donald is the best defensive tackle in the NFL right now, number
Oh,
one by far. Yeah, so I want to tell our fans some of your best moments or best games, and tell about your high school career, best moments in your career in high school.
I say top moments in high school. My sophomore year, first time on varsity. It was senior night, and we were playing against one of our rival schools.
Well,
We were actually down, like 6-9, or we were either down or tied, and so we were on defense, and so it's third down. We had to get this stop, or else they were gonna run the clock out, probably go downfield and kick the field goal. So I'm lining up. I'm like, okay, we got to make a play now. Get off the ball. The tackle and guard leave me untouched. The QB, he's trying to do a read option, but he fumbles the ball, is on the ground. I just dive for it, hoping to get onto it. And I ended up coming with the ball. And so that ended up sealing the game. We kicked the field goal. Everyone's going crazy. All our seniors that's their last home game. So they're all going crazy for that. And then I'd say my best game in high school overall was junior year, second round CIF.
hmm,
We were playing Laguna Beach, I believe. Yeah, Laguna Beach. And so I ended up going for 10 tackles that game, 5 for loss, and like 2 sacks. I mean, unfortunately, we lost, but just personally, that was definitely a game for me that kind of solidified, like, yes, this is my position. This is going to be what I'm going to focus on and
well.
continue with in my career.
Hmm. Yeah, so all right, we have another fan question. She wants to know, when you sack someone, what's your sack celebration?
So me and my coach at Long Beach, we came up with a handshake. We do the 2 claps here and the money signs right here. And so anytime we get a sack now, whether he's watching the game or not, that's going to be the number to.
Wow. Yeah. So, what's it like? Obviously, in high school, what's it like for an athlete to play games under the lights, Friday night lights on Friday nights? A lot of high school games happen. So, for you, what does that mean to you, just to be under those lights, especially facing a rivalry team?
It's well, it's definitely nerve wracking to some degrees, just because depending on, of course, how much the team leans on you. I feel like definitely for me, it was a little bit more nerve wracking just because I knew
Yeah.
almost all the pressure was going to be on me. But just being able to step on the field, all the lights on you, especially against teams that you know are coming in hot, or you know that they're coming in to just beat you just because you're the team to beat. And so really just having that experience, it's exhilarating, and I can't wait to continue that at this next level at Grambling with Southern,
Yeah.
Jackson State that we have coming up. I know it's going to be a live environment. The fans are going to be going crazy.
Yeah.
So I just can't wait to be able to feel that experience.
Yeah, so yeah, you got. Speaking of that, let's talk about your recruitment process. And when it came to National Signing Day this year, obviously you just committed. So, how many offers outside of Grambling State did you get? And what were the factors that came down to Grambling State for you and your family and said, okay, this is a spot for you?
I had 4 offers coming into that time period. One from Tarleton State, Alcorn State, and a few other smaller schools. And I did have some schools coming in that week of signing day trying to see, oh, if I could commit there, if I could get the offer from there. But with me, it was more of like when signing day comes around, the schools that had offered you by then, they wanted you first, and you were more of like their first choice. So with Grambling, I did my visit and everything. I love the environment. I love talking with Coach Jackson
Yeah.
and Coach Delgado. They really made it a great experience out there. And so really just seeing the change they want for the program and seeing the culture that's with that Grambling football team, it came down to a no-brainer. Being able to be with multiple coaches that have coached in the NFL and in Power Five situations, being able to be in an environment that treats football like it's their everything, being able to have that support system, and then just having that level of coaching that wanted you there, it just became a no-brainer.
Well, yeah. So take us to the day when you officially committed with you and your family, and when you signed that the sign of the contract. So how relieved were you and your family once you signed that you're officially Grambling State University?
Uh, it was definitely a big shoulder off the back just because of like you no longer have to worry about like, oh, what am I gonna do? I have all these like decisions to make. Or I have so many options to choose from. Which one am I gonna make? And so it really just took that shoulder off my back. My mom was ecstatic because she'd been advocating for Grambling since high school. And so really it was just kind of that like, okay, now we get to work to start getting to where we need to be when we come to Grambling, and not, okay, where are we going to be? How are we going to get there? What do we need to do to be able to get there? And so it just kind of took that weight off the shoulders.
Yeah. So there's a saying out there, "Mom knows best." So.
Just take,
So, hmm? Yeah. So yeah. So how, obviously, what did that mean to your mother once when you committed to Grambling State, and obviously she's the one who helped you out, and so what did that mean to her when you committed to Grambling State?
I feel like it gave her that level of comfort because when she was there, she really loved the environment too. And she was telling me how she just felt like I could be there and be safe and be in a community that cares. And so I feel like just for her, it was just that like part of it, like, oh, I told you so type of moment for me, but also just that level of security and excitement knowing that I'm going to be somewhere where she really thinks I could succeed.
Wow. So what was it like getting recruited by Coach Hugh Jackson, who has an NFL experience, a great head coach, and obviously now coming here representing an HBCU school? So what was it like getting recruited by him?
It was honestly an honor because obviously during most of the recruiting period, you're going through like the thoughts of, oh, like, am I good enough to be at a certain school? And especially times when you're going through like a dry spell of just no coaches talking to you, you're thinking like, oh my gosh, did my season go not as well as I thought it did? Then when I'm talking to Coach Jackson and hearing that like he really like loved my film and he thought I could do great things coming from his NFL background, that really just meant a lot to me. And that just like me kind of want to drive to really push myself to be an even better version of a player that I can be. And so it was just great hearing that he had high hopes for me.
How ecstatic when you committed? How ecstatic he was?
He was. I remember he had called me when I was out, and he was just like, "Oh, like, what's going on?" And I told him, and all I hear is just him going like, "Yay! Like I can't wait to be out here." Coach Delgado, he called me 3 minutes later talking about how excited they were. So I could tell that they really wanted me out there and they really cared to put in the work to help me become a better player as well.
Yeah, so we have another fan question. So they want to know, what are you most looking forward to coming up upcoming season, and they want to know, what are you trying to work on to get better as we go here in college?
I definitely can't wait for two games, the Classic versus Southern, and then that game versus Jackson State. Those are like marked on my calendar as
Yeah.
you got the best games those times. And really just to be getting better, I do speed and conditioning and strength training every day at 7 a.m. I have a pass rush coach that I go to most weekends just to kind of touch up on some moves because I felt like this past season, even though it went well, there were definitely some things I could continue working on. And then just really getting better at learning the position of D lineman. Because even though I have been playing it for 6 years as of now, it's there's still so much that I don't necessarily know when it comes to the specifics. So just learning and taking the time to really being a student of the game and really learning the position that way. When I come to Grambling and even farther from when I move past Grambling, it's like clockwork and it becomes like habit with everything.
Yeah. So speaking of Jackson State, what's it going to be like going up against Deion Sanders, the coach, and also Deion, his son, is the quarterback there. So what's it going to be like going against him when you play them?
Oh, I mean, to me, it's gonna be the same as going against any other team. You just gotta play your best. It's just one of those games that you just have to play your best game, and obviously, I'm sure it'll be televised everywhere. All eyes are gonna be on it. So just making sure that you come prepared and really knowing that you left everything out there. Because I mean, you like yeah, just it is Deion, and you are playing against a great Jackson State team with all their stars. But at the end of the day, they're all still just players.
Yeah.
So if whoever puts in the work in the offseason, whoever puts in the more time and effort to really better themselves, that's who's going to come out on top.
Yeah. So for you, what's it going to be like the first time you get on the field, the first game you put the Grambling State University jersey and step on that field? What's that moment going to be like being in front of the fans too and your family?
Uh, I definitely will be a level of starstruck just because of how much work has been put in to get to that point. I've told all my coaches from Long Beach, especially Coach Jericho, you're definitely going to see me jump off sides the first play just because of excitement, just because those nerves are going to be going off. But I can definitely see that it's just going to be a surreal moment to take in and being able to just realize that all the work that's been put in over these last 2 or 3 years, even, it's finally coming into fruition.
Yeah, and also being part of a HBCU school. What does that mean to being part of HBCU school like Jackson State, Tennessee State with Eddie George, and these programs are growing, and it's amazing to see now they're getting more recognition. So what does that mean to you and your family being part of HBCU school?
It's definitely it's going to be a great experience being around people in high positions that look like you and being able to see how they were able to put in the work to get to their positions, because I feel like at most other schools, well, yeah, they may have the fancy tech gear and all the facilities and that, but when you don't see people that look like you in those high positions or even around you, that stuff, it's kind of like, oh, like, do you really belong? And so really coming into that sense of belonging while being at an HBCU and really changing the culture that comes with the narrative that with HBCUs and being able to set the foundations to building that change in culture.
Hmm.
That's gonna
So,
be
wow. Yeah. So, what did Coach Hugh Jackson and the rest of the coaching staff tell you about playing time?
um that you gotta earn it really. um like yeah, you're coming in as a highly like favorite, we really want you out here, but nothing's guaranteed and that's expected. And so really with that, I mean, that's the story everywhere. I'm ready to put in the work for it. Um, they did, or Coach Delgado, he did say he has like a high like leadership expectation of me, but of course you gotta work to be able to start.
Yeah. So what do you think? What do you think of the not only you? They got some great talent in this recruiting class. So what are you most looking forward to, and what do you like about this recruiting class? That's included with you.
I think it's one of the best recruiting classes in all of FCS. I know Tyson. He went to Long Beach Poly. I had some teammates that knew about him. Myron Green. I know me and him. We're gonna do some damage up that middle. I know I haven't seen many of the other recruits just like personally. I watched some of their film from when they were putting out the commitment signing videos, and I just can't wait to meet them all, be able to work with them, gain that relationship with them to where we can really build something great on that D line, trying to be the best D line in all of FCS.
Yeah. So what do you think of the uniforms? The uniforms are amazing.
Oh yeah, no, the uniforms are cool. All the different combinations that you could use. They are a little tight. I'm not gonna lie. They do come with some tightness, but honestly, I love all of them. I can't wait to try on each and every one of them. Going through the games, being able to rock the different styles that come with it, and just being able to represent the G.
Well, so for you, what advice would you give to younger athletes that are trying to get to their goals like you and trying to achieve their goals? What advice would you give them?
Quite honestly, you gotta if you're trying to make it into the D1 college level or even any college level, you have to treat the off season like it's a job. You gotta put in the work every day, be able to take the time to really focus on your craft and work to be that best player that you can be. And so if you put in the work, you'll get to where you need to go, and coaches will see that. But it really starts in that off season because if you try and be like, oh, it's the off season, we got that little break before season, try and catch up. Everyone that was working in the off season, they're already going to be 6, 7 months ahead of you because they've been working for that time. And so me and my teammates at the gym, like last morning, we were just talking about it. Like we really talked about it last year when COVID was happening.
Yeah.
Put in this work now, in a year, we're all going to transfer and be gone playing D1, and that's what happened. And so now it's just being able to see the rewards that come with putting in that work.
Wow. Yeah. So one of our fans want to know another fan question that just came in. They want to know, did you get any advice? Have you got any advice from any NFL players?
I have met some on the Chargers. It's mostly about just like position wise, like pass rush techniques and positioning technique. So like Isaac Rochelle, he's currently on the Colts right now.
Mhm.
When I was a junior, but right before a game, he taught me a little bit about positioning,
Oh, wow.
making leverage when getting through. And so really just I really was able to take that just small piece of advice and carry it all throughout my junior year and be able to hold that with it. And so yeah, that's really the one thing I think I can take from an actual NFL player that sat down and talked with me.
Hmm. So, what's it like now for you to have coaches behind you from day one who believed in you, and obviously all the coaching staff looking at your film. So, how important is that for an athlete, especially for you, to have coaches from day one behind your back?
Oh, I believe it's one of the most crucial things. So my D11 coach, Coach Jericho, he has always been supportive. He was our number one hype man during games. He was always he was always excited for us for a play. And really, when you have those type of coaches, you want to make plays for them. You want to play your best game for them.
Yeah.
And when it comes with recruiting too, it makes things amazing. They're pushing you out there, getting your name up to everyone they know, the amount of connections they may have, they're going to try and make sure that they get you in front of them. And so when you have those coaches that just believe in you, want to see you at your best, it's an amazing feeling.
Yeah. So now let's go get to the fun stuff on Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday. Who do you got winning this Sunday's game?
I I've broken it down to so many different things. You got the Bengals O line
Yeah.
that's going up against one of the best D line in NFL in the NFL right now. But also, we've been counting out Joe Burrow for
Yeah.
how many weeks, and he still manages to win. So I haven't placed any bets just because I don't even know what to expect. I'm hoping the Rams win just so that I know AD and Odell can get their rings. But I think it's definitely going to be an interesting game going forward.
So what are you guys gonna be? Where are you guys gonna be watching the game, and what are you guys be do? What are you guys gonna be doing?
I'm still figuring that out. I've asked all my friends, and they're still trying to figure out plans as well. And so I'll probably end up going to like my family's house, cooking up some barbecue or cooking up some food, and then just watching the game together with them.
Nice. So so before we get to the last thing, what's gonna be like the first game? Obviously, fans coming back now after COVID, and we're still in COVID, but now the full fans are allowed to be back. So what's gonna be like going into that stadium with the rocking fans the first game?
I'm excited. It's been a while since I've played in front of a large stadium and just seeing all those people. So I'm just excited to see all the fans, all the reactions, being able to just hear everything going on. It's a sight to really see and something to really experience.
Yeah. And the last thing here, would you like to say anything to all the nurses, doctors, and all the essential workers right now?
Oh, we appreciate all the work you do. I know personally from friends, family friends, that it's a lot of stressful situations that they have to go through. And especially now with COVID, just the work that they have to put in. And I can't say how much I appreciate all the work they've been putting in. over these last 3 years.
Yeah, so there it is. That wraps up episode 978 with Grambling State commit defensive tackle Xavier Cousar. Go follow him on all social media formats. Would you like to plug anything to our fans where they can find you on social media?
I got my Instagram, Zaytoven96. That's XAYTOVEN 96. And my Twitter is just same thing, just switch to 96 with a 76.
Yeah, so I just want to say thank you for joining the show. Congrats again going on committing to Grambling State. You're going to be you're going to have a great time there, and you're surrounded by a great coach in Hugh Jackson. Man, it's going to be I can't wait to see you guys go on the field. You guys be rocking. This team is going to be up and running. So thank you again, and we would love to have you back on the show at some point down the line so you can meet the full team. But keep up the great work, man, and thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.